Believe it or not, we're just 48 days away from Election Day, and a bunch of new numbers are out that show us where we stand. Overall, Biden, he still holds a 7-point lead nationally, that according to the 538 polling average. And we also have new polls from some of the all-important swing states. In Pennsylvania, Biden, he's up by about 5 points over Trump. Minnesota, Biden, he stretched his lead to double digits. But next door in Wisconsin, Biden up by just 6 points. And that could be due to the Kenosha effect. In Wisconsin, Trump, he trails Biden on nearly every single issue except the economy and crime and safety. Now, tomorrow night, we'll be making you a big part of our program, even larger than normal. The election will be our subject. Now, what we're going to do is open up our phone lines and get your reaction. Our question, how and for whom are you planning to vote about a month and a half from Election Day? Our number, 38766-2428, spells that to 888-RNN-CHAT. I want to preface what I'm about to say by reiterating that I think the racial reckoning in this country is both overdue and necessary. I do think we need real police reform in this country, and chalking up these shocking tragedies to the tired a few bad apples is as delusional as it is offensive. Now, when things are not right or fair in this country, we the people, since the birth of the nation, have mustered the righteous courage to protest and to demand change. Protest, it's not always pretty. By definition, protest is intended to make those in power uncomfortable. But sometimes it crosses that line and becomes ugly. Now, while the overwhelming percentage of rallies have been peaceful, there are fringe elements who have chosen to riot, burn, and loot. For me, ignoring these incidents weakens the righteousness of the message, and it empowers racial arsonists like Trump to equate their actions with all those who call for change. Like many of you, I saw that tragic ambush on Saturday of the two deputies sitting in their squad car in Compton, California. A coward shooting both officers in the head seemingly for the sole reason that they were police. Despite bleeding profusely, the 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old dragged her rookie partner to safety and applied a tourniquet, possibly saving his life in the process. Now, they're both battling to pull through, and we have them in our prayers. But outside that hospital, where they're recovering, we saw where protests of police brutality turned into something disgustingly unrecognizable.
And I want to deliver the message to the
I want to be clear. Apparently those abhorrent comments were from 3 or 4 people, but immediately right-wing media seized on them and made their horrible sound bites synonymous with anyone calling for police reform. Some people argue even acknowledging what those idiots said outside the hospital gives those comments oxygen and elevates them. Now, I understand that argument, but I believe it's frankly naive. If you condemn police abuses, you need to condemn the shooter and anyone who justified it. You need to do it loudly and without equivocation. People need to know that you can demand better policing, but we need law and order. A different but related scene, it played out on the streets of Pittsburgh and D.C. during a couple of Black Lives Matter rallies. While the protesters made their message heard, they were apparently unsatisfied with simply having an audience and decided to berate diners if they didn't acknowledge their support. Here's a note to protesters. Not exactly the best way to win over hearts and minds. Moreover, if your core argument is mistreatment is always wrong and respect is a basic right, then try practicing what you preach. Now let me be straight. I cannot take 4 more years of this guy. I just can't do it. For him to win, in addition to cheating, he's got to convince the dwindling number of undecided Americans in those swing states like Wisconsin that a vote for Biden is a vote against law and order and a tacit support for people who hate cops or civility. That will be a lie, of course, but since when does Trump ever let the truth get in the way? So, for political reasons, but for more importantly, for reasons of basic decency, let's all condemn all the ugliness wherever it comes from. If we don't, I fear we're as bad as he is. All right, when we come back, everyone. Speaking of President Trump, once again, he's comparing himself to FDR and Winston Churchill and how his response to COVID is like how they handled World War II. After the break, a historian who says the comparison is laughable, he'll tell us why he thinks he's being charitable.